Hey everybody, welcome back. We are going to be starting up another episode today. Pops, you want to tell them what we're going to do today?
Today we're probably going to start tearing the motor apart. I want to get it out and get some machine work done to it. Even though it's only got 45,000 miles on it, it actually blew a head gasket. So we want to see what was going on there. So we're going to partially disassemble it today, so we can send it out and get some stuff done. I don't know if we'll tear the whole thing apart today. We'll at least get the heads and intake on water pump and all that stuff off. We're just gonna start stripping this a little bit, get it apart so I don't know if any of you have ever seen a Hemi. It's a completely different design motor, especially up in the valve train. You're gonna see two shafts that have rocker arms on them. One runs exhaust, one runs intake. You have to be careful because most of the early Hemis use different size bolts on bolting the heads down. So you have to be careful and make sure you mark which one came out of where, so you put them back in properly. All right, for those of you who have never seen a Hemi, the spark plugs actually go down in these holes. It's a completely different design. They go right down through the center of the valve cover, and there's tubes here. You'll see, I'm going to pull the first one here, and then you'll see the tube that it all fits in. It looked like you got water on it.
That one might not be good.
Huh. It doesn't look like it got water in the hole.
Which side was bad which head, I guess, getting drivers. Yeah.
All right, if you look, there's one of the tubes you're going to take out. That goes right down through the center of the valve cover. In fact, I'm going to grab a quick rag here and wipe this off.
While he's doing that, I'm going to take the carb off so I can get this stuff off.
If you've ever built a Hemi too, you got to be careful. If you lose these tubes aren't all the same for all different Hemis. Chrysler made a Hemi, Dodge made a Hemi, and DeSoto made a Hemi back in the 50s, from 51 through 58. Plymouth never had a Hemi in that series of Hemis. When the second gen came out, the 426 Hemis, then Plymouth also had a Hemi. If you look, these spark plugs aren't actually burning too bad. They actually look pretty good. These plugs actually look nice and clean, so the engine's been burning good. We'll see what happens when we get to the one with the blown head gasket. Okay, got one more on this side to take out. Carry, this plug stuck, or the tube stuck in there. Can you get it?
Yeah, here, I'll get a screwdriver. Actually, it's stuck.
Turn that, tear that.
Got it. Oh, I think there may have been some. Oh, you know what? I bet that's from when I bet that's from when they sandblasted the car. That sand they got in the engine.
Dumped it all over the rocker.
Not my motor anymore.
That plug looks brand new yet.
So I'm pretty sure
that actually is the original carburetor for this car, and it still ran great.
And in case you're wondering, this carburetor is honestly like 30 pounds.
We'll replace it. We'll probably put a new Edelbrock on it. Cover that up, Gary. Tape the top of that before you put it away. We'll actually probably put a new Edelbrock on it. I have another one of these motors exactly like this, but it's supercharged. And it's up in the other building, but I bought a new intake manifold for it, and I'll probably do the same for this one. It's just a little nicer, a little cleaner looking, so. Yeah, there's a lot of things you see on this motor now won't be on it when we redo it. They make an adapter for a small block Chevy water pump, which will replace it with a Chevy water pump. The big thing is I can get the original water pump, but I want to have something that's more accessible. If something would happen, the water pump goes bad on the highway, I can stop at any auto parts store and get a new water pump for it. So we'll go with a small block Chevy water pump. It'll have a 340 Chrysler distributor probably, and oil pump. So it'll have some updated stuff. A lot of this will be gone. There'll be a different type of front timing cover on it. You can use the small block Chrysler timing chain in these. It's the same. That's one nice thing I've always liked about Chrysler. Chrysler used a lot of the parts were interchangeable. Their starters will work on big block or small block. It's pretty nice setup. So if you look right here, in fact, Carrie can show you on that side, it's a little brighter. There's 3 prongs here, okay? Once the spark plugs were all in here, there was a cover that went over top of this, and it actually covered the spark plug wires, and it actually overlapped a little bit on the end. The spark plug wires would come out in the back. So if you looked at this, you would never see any of this stuff. It was a nice clean look, and it was pretty cool setup actually.
They all should have these things on them too. If you well, hold on, maybe you'll, yeah. They should all have these on them too. They're just like little push-on clips. And what these actually do is, this one's bent up a little bit from us playing with it, but they always fall off too. But it actually holds your spark plug wires in there. So then when you put the cap over, it doesn't smash your wires or pinch your wires or anything.
We'll probably actually go with, they make some really nice finned aluminum valve covers for these. I may go with them, I don't know, or I may paint these really super nice. Go ahead and get that one off, Carrie. We had to tap it, boy, that got wet inside. All this will be cleaned. I'm not really concerned with it, but it's, as you can see, some of it's rusty. I'm going to replace all the valve springs. These will be rebuilt. If you guys are small block Chevy people or what, they're only going to have a center shaft that has rocker arms on it. If you can tell, these are the rocker arms, but you have an upper and you have a lower on each one. So
actually, I have a video of us starting the other one up in the garage, actually with the valve covers off.
These are the bolts that hold the heads in place. So we'll get all those off, and then we'll be able to pull the head. If you've ever lifted one of these, I could probably lift the small block Chevy block as easy as I can lift one of these heads. They weigh a ton. Yeah, this side looks a little bit cleaner.
Well, not as rusty.
Yeah. Really, for an engine with that many miles, though, the engine's still pretty clean. It doesn't have any buildup of sludge or anything. It's actually pretty clean looking still.
If you look at this little emblem here, it's DCDP, I think. But it's the Dodge Chrysler Plymouth DeSoto emblem on the bolts. So those are still the original bolts.
Oil still looks good and clean.
We always stuff something in the holes to make sure no dirt gets going in it or nothing goes in it that we don't want in it.
Yeah, if you look, there's towels stuck in each one of the exhaust ports. It just keeps everything cleaner. I'll put all new push rods in. We'll actually replace the lifters and stuff in this engine, and I'll put 340 lifters in it. There's a company that makes push rods that have a tip that accommodates the 1/4 inch end up here and a 3/8 end down in the other end. So It works real good. They make a replacement push rod, and they're adjustable so I can adjust them. This thing hasn't been apart for a while, so.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, thanks. You got it?
Well, it's about time you got it. Man, whatever glue we use for those gaskets.
Yeah, it's old Indian shellac. You know, too, if you guys have ever lifted an intake manifold, those are cast aluminum or cast iron. They're not like the new style aluminum ones. They're on there, so they're a heavy setup.
Oh, they will
Let's take the Valley.
They're very, very heavy.
They also make, this is called a Valley pan cover. They also make those in aluminum. This will have an aluminum one of those on it too. This actually covers where all your lifters and everything sits, so. That's not bad. That's not really sludged up at all. As you can see, here's your push rods. Push rods are right here. Lifters go down in here. That's typical engine, so we'll get those out and get the heads off here. Okay, as you can see, we're taking the bolts out, and like I said, these are actually head bolts also. They don't just bolt on the rocker assembly. They're head bolts. And as you can see, they're fairly large. We'll replace these, but we're taking them out one at a time and putting them together because the tops and the bottom bolts aren't the same. So they're two different lengths. So I want to make sure they don't get confused and we put the wrong one, because if you put the short one where the long one's supposed to go, you'll end up cracking the block on the edge or something. So we're very careful with that stuff. There, as you can see, there's the rocker assembly. Now you can rebuild these. They've got a little cap that goes in each end of them to seal them. You can have these rebuilt. It's not super expensive to do it. I had the ones on my other one done. They clean them all up. It's got little springs here to keep the rocker in position in between the stanchions and the rockers. So that's pretty much what a Hemi rocker looks like. Okay, we're taking the push rods out. As you can see, here's a short one. Here's a long, whoop.
There's a bent one.
Quite a bit of difference in them, so. We're taking them out, we'll put them together, all the shorts together, all the longs together here. So we're going to get new ones anyway. We'll replace all these. You know, they probably don't need it. I just like everything new. So if I can get a replacement, I'm going to buy new ones. So they aren't that expensive, and I'd rather have new stuff. Then I'll keep these just in case we would ever have a problem. We'd have a spare.
So we're just going to keep these in the back of the building for 20 years for no reason.
Well, and this stuff's more valuable anymore. A lot of people want to use the original stuff. I don't care about that. I want to have a dependable engine that I can start and not have to worry about anything.
It's
So,
not saying the old stuff's
those are
not
the shorts. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
either,
it.
but you know, it's a lot easier to just grab it from somebody like Summit and you know,
I just soon have
take the
brand
new parts
ones.
home and put them in.
Well, and depending what you're doing, there's things you do, the engine, decking it and flattening the bottom of the heads and stuff that can actually make a different size push rod be needed. So these heads are really, really heavy. Show them the underneath of that head while you have it up. That's what a Hemi engine looks like underneath. Actually doesn't look real bad. Not a lot of carbon, but it's got some, but nothing extreme. If you've never seen it, this is a basic head gasket. That's what one looks like. Now this side should have been okay. I don't see where it was leaking anywhere. I don't like that right there. You notice these are clean. That one's got a buildup. Watch. Watch.
What are you using to spray that out with, Dad?
I'm using Summit brake cleaner.
Oh, Summit branded brake cleaner.
It'd be nice if we didn't have to redo the motor, but it looks like there is a ridge inside here. We'll show you in a second once we get this.
That isn't gonna work. Oh, got it.
Right there.
Yep.
This is, looks like where the head gasket probably blew right here. It was leaking through right there. If you notice, see how clean these are? You can see there where there's residue that's come through. That's probably where we were getting the blown head gasket. A lot of times, as an engine wears, the piston stops at a certain spot in the cylinder bore. Well, if you guys could feel this, even though this engine's only got about 47,000 miles, there's a very slight ridge in here. Usually if you get a ridge like that, the motor's going to have to be bored, which means we're going to end up putting new pistons in it and doing the whole thing. But that's okay. I'd rather have it done properly. We'll get the bottom end torn apart, and then we'll take it to the machine shop. They'll check the bores and let us know if it has to be bored or if it can be honed. But I would think with the ridge I feel, it's probably going to end up being bored. It might be, you can bore them different sizes. You can go 10 thousandths, 20 thousandths, 30, 40, 60. Just depends what's available. It may be, once the block's cleaned, it may just be a buildup of carbon that's up here, and that may go away. More than likely, though, I can feel a pretty good ridge there. It's not huge, but it's enough where we're probably going to end up having to change. So,
and honestly, it's.
I'd rather do it now than have to tear it all back apart and do it over again. So.
But if you're making a hot rod, you know, that you're not going to drive all the time, this is, I mean, it's hardly anything, you know.
And I'm one of those kind of people, I'd rather do it once than do it 2 times. You put it in, you get it in 1 time, it's done. I don't ever have to worry about it again.
All right, so I'm just going to pull the water pump so then I can get in here and really get all this ground down and cleaned up real nice. But if you look at this, this is the front timing chain cover, and all this is kind of bolted to it, and you know, the water pump's bolted to it, so that's the other reason why I'm not going to be taking the water pump housing off, because it's all one piece.
There, if you've never seen a water pump, that's what a water pump looks like inside.
Yeah, and a lot of, if you see big block Mopar or even like these older Mopars, they have the water pumps like this, where it's just a 4-bolt thing, and then you just stick it on the water pump housing and it bolts right on.
You know, one thing too, it's, if you notice, I put everything in a Ziploc bag, even though we're probably not going to use some of these. they come in handy just to know what and put it back together if we would decide that we need them for another motor or whatever. We try to keep everything in Ziploc bags so we know where everything's at. All right, as you can see, we got the motor partially torn down. We got really torn down to almost the short block. We'll take the oil out of it here during the week and get it all drained down and ready to go, and then we'll get the heads and get the block out to the machine shop, have them check it and see what's going on, see what we're going to have to do, make sure everything's good, and then we'll start buying parts for the engine. So we're going to probably, I would guess we're probably going to be buying pistons, and these are kind of difficult to get cams for. I actually send the cam out and have it reground. We'll get all new lifters, all new valves, new springs, retainers. I'll get all that stuff brand new. Probably on upcoming episodes, we're going to be cutting the dash. We'll get the air conditioning mounted in the car probably in the next couple episodes.
So yeah, thank you guys for watching again. And I am McFlyDesign63 on Instagram. Terrence is KMAC Customs 330 on Instagram. Summit Racing on Instagram. And make sure you click like, subscribe, follow. If you have any questions, put them down on the bottom. We'll try and answer them as best we can. I'll even try and teach the old guy how to use YouTube to answer questions. So
good luck with that one.
I know. If it's not Marketplace, he's not on it. So, but all right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next episode.
See you next episode.